Welcome to Retirement Ramblings. I'm Scott, and today is day 287 in my countdown to retirement. Well, today my son got the results from his PMP exam, and he passed. So I'm super proud of him. He's one of now 4 to 5% of the 9.5 million project managers, of which I'm one, that has the PMP designation now. So that's about 420,000 project managers out of the 9.5 million. So, he's now, I was teasing him last night. He's now giving me a target to go after because he, scored really high across the board. So, now his old dad here needs to see whether he can beat him or, will he reign supreme. In the other case, I'm super proud of him, one way or another. So then this morning I had a bunch of meetings, and then after my meetings, I decided to do a little pruning of my herbs in my aero garden. And so I trimmed back some parsley, some dill, some basil, and some mint. And so I put the parsley, basil, and dill in my Ninja air fryer on dehydrate and let that dehydrate. And then I set aside the fresh dill because I'm going to be using that later in the week in a recipe. So took care of that. Then I ran back out for some more meetings that I hadn't had a chance to eat, and it got to be about 2:30 and I was starving at that point. So I decided to try Dr. Ken Berry's process for making crispy bacon bits. So as you might remember, about a week and a half ago, I had bought a pork belly and I cut a third of that down into bacon, and then I set it aside, and then the rest, I vacuum sealed. So I took that third of the pork belly, and again, it's uncured, and I cut it up into about 3-inch strips, and just threw it into a Dutch oven, and just made sure they kind of spread out. And then you turn the Dutch oven on high. You put a cover on it so it doesn't splatter. It also keeps the heat, makes the heat higher within the Dutch oven. And then basically every 2 to 3 minutes, you go in there with, I use tongs, but you could use spoon or whatever, and you just mix it up to make sure that you get the stuff that's off the bottom, circling up to the top so it doesn't burn and then the rest doesn't cook. So you keep doing that, like I said, every 2 to 3 minutes, and it took me I don't know, probably close to 40 minutes for the size of the batch that I made to get through and get it to be crispy. And then I got out a cooling rack and put some paper towels on it, and then tonged out the crispy bacon bits onto the paper towel, so it could drain the grease off. Then I made myself 3 pastured eggs that I could then eat with some of the bacon bits. So I sat down, and by then it was a little bit after 3 o'clock, and so I flipped on CNBC, and I watched the interview with Scott Wapner and Jeffrey Gundlach. And I always like listening to Jeffrey's input after a Fed meeting, so I watched that for a few minutes while I was eating the food. And then I went and took the Dutch oven, and I poured the grease through a strainer, a fine mesh strainer, to catch most of the particulates. And then I saved the no sugar bacon grease in a separate container that I'll use for high heat cooking for other things, as I need them. And I will say there was virtually no splatter that occurred anywhere on the range. And then all I had to do is put a couple of drops of Dawn dishwashing liquid in and some hot water in the Dutch oven. I just set it off to the side to soak while I did other things, and then came back later and literally it was like swish, 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 cleaned it out. Super easy. So it made cleaning up the bacon situation way simpler than if you make it in a frying pan, or or even in the oven when you put it out on a sheet with parchment paper. So it worked out really good. And then he said that you can store it in a, in a bag in the fridge, take it with you on planes. You can do whatever. So I put it in a half-gallon Ziploc bag, uh, threw it in the fridge, and I'll see how it goes, because both he and his wife indicated that it works really great as kind of as a chip. So when you're sitting down later at night or whatever to relax, and you have that craving for chips, but you don't want a carbohydrate, you just go grab the bacon chips and away you go, and you get the protein, you get the fat, but you don't get the carbs. So we'll see. We'll see if that satisfies me. And then again, had some more meetings, and then later in the evening, I made air fryer chicken. So chicken wings in the Ninja air fryer. And pretty much I tried to take it easy today for items that I was working on, because all day I was working on putting together strategy documents and estimates for what it would take to do some things over the next couple of years. And I have a meeting first thing in the morning with what I think will be my new boss, to be determined yet, but to go over what the strategy docs are, and see what he wants the next steps to be. But because of that, like literally, I worked all the way up till like right before making this video. So, um, that's my update for the day. If you have any questions, any comments, please leave them in the comment section down below, or drop me an email at myretirementramblings@gmail.com. Otherwise, I hope you have a great evening. Take care, and until tomorrow,